Welcome back to Dreamtime Adventures. Love and friendship were in the air as the Burg prepared for its annual Valentine's Day cookie swap. Charlie and his blue dragon buddy were hanging heart-shaped decorations from the lampposts, while Josephine and her majestic unicorn Pinky helped arrange tables in the town square for all the delicious cookies to come. Mayor Marie had made sure everyone in town received an invitation, even Dr. Zoop and Rusty up on Creaky Hill. But while Rusty was excitedly polishing his metal body to a shine for the party, Dr. Zoop was slumped in his favorite laboratory chair, frowning at the pink invitation. Friendship celebration? Cookie swap? Bah, Dr. Zoop grumbled. Nobody in town really wants to be my friend. They just invite me because they have to. That's not true, Rusty said kindly. Remember when they shared the blue ribbon pie with us, and how the children love visiting your paper monsters in the library? But Dr. Zoop just huffed and pulled his laboratory sleeping mask over his eyes. Wake me when this silly Friendship Day is over. Rusty watched as Dr. Zoop began to snore, then looked at the invitation again. The robot really wanted to go to the celebration. After a moment of worrying thought, he quietly rolled toward the door. Just for a little while, he whispered. He won't even notice I'm gone. Down in the town square, the cookie swap was in full swing. There were heart-shaped sugar cookies, chocolate chip cookies with pink frosting, and even special dragon-sized cookies that Buddy was sharing with the baby dragons who often visited from their nest. When Rusty rolled into the square, everyone welcomed him warmly. Mrs. Appleblossom even had special oil-flavored cookies just for him. For the first time, Rusty felt like he truly belonged in the Burg. But back in the laboratory, Dr. Zoop was waking up from his nap. Rusty, he called out, pushing up his sleeping mask. Rusty, where are you? When he realized his friend had gone to the celebration without him, his wild hair seemed to get even wilder with hurt and anger. So, my only friend abandons me for their silly party? Dr. Zoop ran to his workbench. Well, I'll show them what happens when they steal my robot. This silly string super cannon will cover their whole celebration in a sticky, stringy mess. Down in the town square, Charlie was the first to spot trouble brewing. Look, he pointed toward Creaky Hill, where an enormous cannon was being wheeled onto Dr. Zoop's balcony. Revenge! Dr. Zoop's voice echoed across town as he fired his invention. But instead of normal silly string, he had accidentally created something much more powerful. Giant waves of colorful, sticky strings shot into the air, growing and tangling as they flew. Soon the whole town was being wrapped in a giant web of silly string. People were getting stuck to buildings, dragons couldn't flap their wings, and even the cookies were being covered in stringy goo. We have to do something, Josephine called out, watching as more silly string rained down. Charlie spotted the town's street sweeping trucks parked nearby. I have an idea. Buddy, can you help me hook up those cleaning brushes to your saddle? While Charlie and Buddy worked on creating a giant flying street sweeper, Josephine noticed something else. Look how the silly string gets hard and breaks when it's cold. Remember how the ice cream cart has that super cold freezer? Working together, they came up with a plan. Charlie and Buddy flew through town with their spinning brushes, clearing paths through the sticky strings. Meanwhile, Josephine and Pinky pulled the ice cream cart around, using its freezer to blast cold air that made the silly string brittle enough to break. But the cannon kept firing more and more silly string. That's when Rusty knew what he had to do. He rolled back up to the laboratory, leaving tracks in the sticky mess. Doctor, he called out to his friend, I'm sorry I left without telling you, but I didn't abandon you. I was hoping you'd join us. Everyone really does want to be your friend, even after all your crazy inventions. Maybe especially because of them. The Burg wouldn't be the same without your zaniness. Dr. Zoop's finger hesitated on the cannon's trigger. Really? You mean they actually like having me around? Of course we do, Charlie called from Buddy's back. Who else makes our town so exciting? And gives us such amazing adventures, Josephine added. And creates wonderful things by accident? Mayor Marie chimed in, holding up a piece of silly string that had frozen into a beautiful crystal shape. Dr. Zoop looked around at all the smiling faces, some partially covered in silly string, but smiling nonetheless. He then noticed how the frozen silly string was catching the sunlight, making rainbow patterns dance across the town square. Well, he said, turning off the cannon, I suppose this wasn't quite the revenge I planned, though it did make quite a lovely decoration. Soon everyone was working together to clean up the mess. They discovered that the frozen, silly string made perfect Valentine's Day decorations, sparkling like colored ice sculptures all around the square. The cookie swap continued with even more joy than before, now with Dr. Zoop and Rusty as the guests of honor. You know what? Dr. Zoop said, munching on a cookie shaped like a laboratory beaker that someone had made just for him. I think I finally understand what friendship really means. Oh? Rusty asked, sipping his oil-flavored cookie. It means accepting people even when they make mistakes, Dr. Zoop replied. Like when they build silly string cannons, or sneak off to parties, or when they forget that true friendship was there all along, Rusty finished with a squeaky chuckle. And so ended another magical adventure in the Burg, teaching us that sometimes the strongest friendships come from the messiest situations. Join us next time for more Dreamtime adventures, where friendship, courage, and a little bit of magic make anything possible.